Alright, what's good everybody? So as you can see by the title of this video, it's going to be a little bit more of an educational video. We won't be looking at any of the charts today, but we will be hopping on Notion.com. So if you don't really know what Notion.com is, it's basically the notes app for your iPhone, but a way better version of it. I'm not sponsored by them. I wish I was, but um, anyway, you might be asking by the title of this video why you need trading rules. Well, basically having a trading plan or rules just basically just keeps you accountable. It's easy to get caught up in the moment, but when you have your trading plan, it's what brings you back into your logic and back into your structure. It helps you avoid a bunch of emotional decisions that you're not usually taking. When you're in a trade, things start to move pretty quickly. Fear starts to kick in, greed starts to kick in. Your rules basically completely protect you from reacting with impulsive decisions that you usually wouldn't take. It also protects you from losing a bunch of capital. Without risk management rules, one bad trade could wipe out completely of days or weeks of even of progress. So your plan basically just gives you like a clear step by step process to follow. If you're not waking up, guessing, you're basically executing your trades with confidence. Okay. So, and most importantly, it gives you something to review and improve on. So you're not just going to get all this data and then just like throw it out. You're going to grow as a trader. And all that kind of stuff. You're going to study your own behavior and decisions and stuff like that. So if you don't just want to wing it, and if you want actual long-term success, treat this trading shit like a business. Businesses have systems. So starting off, let's hop onto Notion.com. Make an account if you don't have one already. And I want you guys to do this with me. So it's you could just have it on you. All right. So once you set up, get yourself a brand new page, just like this. How I have it set up on the screen right here. And what we're gonna do is basically title this thing, whatever you want to title it, but I just like to title it as trading rules. Okay, so that's gonna be your first thing. So now what you're gonna do is have a couple different sections. So you're gonna have one for pre-market, one for your actual trading, third for your risk management, one for your discipline, and basically your post trading. So you're going to have about five different sections within this. So the first one's going to be pre-market. Okay, so obviously we all know coming into market open, what do we do? So the most important thing is obviously waking up. So I usually like to say waking up an hour before market open is the best time to wake up. Okay, so now the cool thing about Notion.com is basically you can have these check boxes right here. So if you click the plus sign right here, and you might have to scroll down a little bit, but you click to-do list, and then you're gonna have like a checkbox basically, so you can mark it off. Okay, so let's just say your very first thing is going to be wake up at least 1 hour before market opens. Okay, cool. So now let's just say, for example, you wake up an hour before market opens. You could knock that off and basically mark it off, and then you could just move on to the next thing. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is basically do your daily routine. So checking Forex Factory for news. So that's my second thing that I always like to do. Checking Forex. Oh fuck, I'm not even typing. Let me bring that back. Checking Forex Factory for news. Another thing that I like to do is basically mark out key levels of liquidity. Okay. Find daily bias for the day. And sometimes what I like to do personally is I like to spend at least like 10 minutes of reading some sort of book. I'm currently reading a book by David Goggins. It's pretty good. So 10 minutes of reading a book. And at this point, you can kind of add on to your own stuff. So I like to make myself a coffee right in the morning. So make coffee, whatever you want to do, basically add it to yourself, make it a little bit more personal. Whatever you like to do in the morning. But this is basically what you're going to be doing every single day when you wake up for trading. Okay, so these are the most important things that you need to have, especially getting up early, because that's something that I know a lot of people within my Discord who I mentor have struggled with. But once you start waking up early and seeing giving yourself some time to mark out key levels, give yourself a daily bias and all that kind of stuff, basically just gives you a step ahead within the market. So you're not just going into market open, kind of just like blindlessly going into it, you know, waking up fucking 5 minutes before market opens and just hopping in the charts at exactly 8:30 or 9:30, wherever you are. It just gives you an extra step ahead into the market. So now the next thing is going to be your actual trading. Okay, so let's talk about the important things that it comes to actually within your rules and when it comes to trading. So what I like to do is making new like a section for this. You're going to type in trading. All right, so now you're going to click enter, and then you got to make that box again. So you're going to click plus, to-do list, and then so if you're trading New York session, whatever session you trade, let's just say, for example, in this case, I trade New York session. What you're going to do is trade New York session. Cool. Should be trading from 9:30 to 11 a.m. max. Obviously, this depends on what trader you are. Like, let's just say, for example, if you trade a PM session, so it's going to be a little bit different for you. But me personally, I trade from 9:30 a.m. to maximum 11 a.m. Okay, so that's the max I will usually ever go to. I barely ever actually hop onto PM session, but that's just how it is for me. Okay, so now what you're going to want to type out is wait for your setup. Okay, so make this capital, because honestly, a lot of you newer guys will hop into a trade that is not even close to being your actual setup, which could basically fuck up your entire day, fuck up your account. Let's just say if you're hopping on a funded account, you probably just blew an account, you hit the daily loss limit, whatever it is. Waiting for the right setup, and it requires patience. Okay, so waiting for the setup. Cool. Next thing is, for me personally, within my strategy, I like to wait for liquidity to be swept. Okay, so this goes for either London session low or London session high. So what I'm going to do is type out wait for liquidity sweep, and then you could type out, you know, London high / low. Okay, then my next ideal trade, or the next ideal confluence for a trade, is using some sort of imbalance or a fair value gap or something like that. So I'm going to type out fair value gap plus retracement. Boom, just like that. And then obviously, I feel like this is pretty simple, but a lot of people don't understand this, is if you don't see your exact setup, if you don't see the setup that you are very confident that will actually play out, do not take it. All right, so when it comes to these newer guys, a lot of you beginner guys, I struggle with this, is trying to basically take trades and just kind of guess that, like, oh, like it's gonna go in my direction. But 9 times out of 10, when you just like think it's gonna go in your direction, but you don't have like a clear setup, you don't have an A+ setup that aligns with your strategy, 9 times out of 10 it will not go into your way. So that's why typing it out, if you don't see your exact setup, don't take it. Boom, just like that. All right, now the next thing we're going to move on to is risk management. Okay, now a lot of you beginner guys don't really understand risk management yet, because, you know, some of you guys might be finishing off the TGR course or like a different strategy course and hopping right onto, you know, paper trading. Okay, so a lot of you guys don't really understand risk management, and I feel like this comes along a little bit later when you're actually hopping onto a funded account or a live account. So it's going to take some time to fully understand that. But let me just type it out for you guys, just so you have a little bit of an imprint when it comes to this in the future. So risk management is going to be our next section for this. Don't mind the spelling, I'm kind of just like doing this. All right, fuck it, whatever. All right, what we're gonna do, plus sign, to-do list. So obviously it kind of depends on yourself, but let's just say for a beginner person, let's just say if you're hopping onto about a 50% or 50K funded account, you are going to be risking maximum 1% per trade. So let's just say, for example, you know, this is what I usually recommend to newer people, is taking only maximum of 1% loss per trade. Okay, so 1% risk per trade. So that way you're not losing too much, and then also you give yourself a little bit of wiggle room to actually add on more contracts, and then also, you know, putting your stop loss in a place where you feel comfortable with. Okay. Now another thing as well is not just using you know, your 1% as your entire daily loss limit, but having a max daily loss limit. So max daily loss should be around 3%. So basically, max daily loss limit, if you don't know what that means, it is in the words how much you're willing to risk for the entire day. So let's just say if you take 3 losing trades, each one of them has 1% loss. Um, that's your entire day right there. Okay. So now moving on. This is pretty simple. Stop loss below the entry, obviously giving yourself a little bit of wiggle room for for the trade to actually play out. So stop loss below entry. Usually this is, let's just say for example, if I'm taking a fair value gap trade, this is way below the open or the close of the fair value gap. Just if price wants to come outside of it, maybe play around with it for a little bit and chop within it. That's a good example of it right there. Another thing is as well is having multiple take profits. That is super important when it comes to trading, especially if you're new, because it saves you a lot. Because for example, let's just say for example, I take a trade and it moves within my direction for a little bit. I take half of my contracts off. Okay, so I take half of my contract. Let's just say if I have 4 contracts and I take 2 of them off, I basically am up about, let's just say for example, I'm up about $200 for the day. Okay, I still have a little bit of ways to go for take profit, for my second take profit, which closes my entire position. So that's why it's what could happen is the entire trade could completely reverse and hit your stop loss. So that's why it's super important to take some contracts off, give yourself some space to take profits, and also moving your stop loss to break even after you take profits is super important as well. So I'm going to write that down. Another thing that is very, very important that is not really talked about, but I know definitely happens to a lot of newer people, is people like to move stop loss to break even. So, moving stop losses, discard what I just said. Moving stop losses while you're in a trade or moving take profits. What this basically does for you is it gives you more greed. So once you start moving your take profits like higher than it's supposed to be, you're just getting greedy at that point. And honestly, just stick to your original take profit. Don't try to move it. Same thing goes for the stop loss. You should not be moving your stop loss whatsoever, because of the fact that you know, if you get too scared of a trade, if you're scared of being in a trade, you should not be even in that trade, because what that means to me is that you either over risked on the trade, or you just are not confident within yourself and you did not take the correct and right setup that you needed to see. Okay, so do not move your stop loss. Once you set it, keep it there. Okay, so don't move stop loss unless you hit one of your take profits, then you can move it to break even. But at that point, before that, you should not be moving your stop loss whatsoever. Okay, same thing goes for take profits. Don't move take profit. All right, and then obviously if you have your own rules, you could add on to that, making it personalized for yourself. Now what I like to add on to mine, and this is actually very, very similar to my actual trading rules. I have I have my second monitor below here, and I'm looking at my actual trading rules that I haven't really looked at in about a year or so, because I have all this stuff memorized like in my head, so I don't really have to look at this chart or like at this right here, because of the fact that I have been doing this for about 2 years now. So I have this imprinted in my head, so I don't really have to look at that. Another thing is discipline rules. So it's gonna be like the third or fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is gonna be the fourth section right here. Okay. So this is super important because it could definitely save you from losing a lot of money. All right, so no revenge trading. So let's just say, for example, you took a loss, okay, and you are pretty upset about it and you want to take that win. A lot of people, what they would do is they will revenge trade, and what that means is basically they're going to re-enter on a losing trade. So let's just say if you hit your stop loss, you're basically gonna re-enter on your trade. That's something you should not be doing. Absolutely not, because of the fact that if it already hit your stop loss, that trade's done. Okay, you should not be looking at it anymore. It doesn't matter how good it is. If it was an A plus, whatever it is, you should never do that. Okay, so revenge trading is a big no. 2 to 3 trades a day should be the max trades for anyone. Doesn't matter how good you are. You should not be taking over 3 trades a day. 2 to 3 trades a day. And honestly, most of the time, if I take 2 winning trades, I'm already off the charts at that point, because securing your profits is the best thing that you could do. Protecting your capital. If it's already your green, why would you want to give it back to the markets? Okay, for example, the other day I had 3 trades. 2 of them were wins, 1 of them was a loss. Okay, obviously my losses are pretty small compared to my wins. However, I did end up giving a little bit of my actual profits back to the market because of the fact that I just not that I over traded, but I just took 3 trades. So obviously you're better off just taking those 2 wins and just moving on with your day. Okay, so what do we talk about? No revenge trading, 2 to 3 trades a day. Don't over risk. I feel like that's a very important one. A lot of people get super greedy when they hop onto a funded account or a live account. They might think that they get overconfident within themselves, so they start over risking. They add a little bit more leverage than they should. Let's just say, for example, on a TopStep account, 50K account, you can do max of, I believe it's like 15 contracts on TopStep X. Get 15 contracts. What they do is they won a trade yesterday and they're like super overconfident. What they do is they add more contracts because they think that they're like, oh, like I'm the shit, like I'm good at this trading stuff. Realistically, if you just win 1 trade, that doesn't mean anything. Okay, so literally, don't over risk. Keep what you're comfortable with. Okay, so keep it at, let's just say, for example, 2 to 3 contracts. If you're comfortable with losing a trade with 3 contracts, keep it at that. Don't go any higher than that. So don't over risk. And then if you don't see your setup, this is a very important one. If you don't see your setup, walk away. Close your computer screen. If you want to hop onto a paper account just so you could practice as the market moves along. If you don't see your setup, just walk away from the screen. Don't worry about it. There's always tomorrow. That's something people don't realize is they don't see their setup, so they start getting FOMO, and they hop on social media such as like Instagram. They see TGR 150K on his trade, or another trader won $1,000 on his trade. What they do is they get FOMO, so they're like, oh shit, like my setup didn't form. So they're just gonna take a random fair value gap with no other confluences, and they completely just lost a trade, which they just lost a bunch of money for absolutely no reason. So if you don't see your setup whatsoever, just walk away. There's always tomorrow. But yeah, so if you don't see the setup, walk away. Okay, simple as that. Now, post trading. So after you're done trading for the day, so post trading, and we're gonna do the same thing. Do the plus, to-do list, is journaling your trades. Some people don't realize how important this is because of the fact that how simplistic it is. I never used to do it, but until I realized how important it is, I started doing it every single day, and I've never missed a single day. You're basically just writing down all the data that you have collected. Okay, so let's just say, for example, if you took a loss today, okay, you know exactly what you did right in your head. You're gonna think about it, just be like, oh, like that was a stupid loss, whatever. If you don't write it down, you're just gonna forget about it. Okay, so that's why it's super important to journal all of your trades. Actually make it like detailed. I'll make a whole video. The next video I'm gonna post is gonna be completely on how to journal your trades, but just look out for that. But just make it more detailed. Don't just put like, oh, it took a loss on in this fair value gap and then be done. Like like you'll understand eventually in the future why you need to actually put some detail and kind of effort into something like this. Okay, so journaling your trades, use pictures within your journal and all that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, that's all I really have for this. This is something, if you want to take a screenshot of this, if you have not journaled, or if you have not, like, written it down as we're going. Um, this is something that I stuck to for the past 2 years. And I've been pretty profitable with it. Another thing I did want to talk about, if you want to join my free Discord, it is going to be in the link in the description. I have a bunch of people that just got funded today. I got my boy Pavo, who got 2 funded accounts today. My boy Malik, who got 2 funded accounts today. If you go to testimonials, here's just living proof right here that we help people out. But that is in the description of this video. If you want to join that, it's completely for free. I do one-on-one mentorship, live calls, a lot of free sauce in there. If you want to join that, that's in there. But I'll see you guys within the next video. Peace out.